Here's my dilemma. As my career continues, the camera builds and the sizes of these cameras increase. This only continues to go up, and the RS3 can only hold up to a certain weight capacity. Weight capacity RS3. That alone could be the Raptor and a lens. And I told myself that if I reach this kind of physical limit or ceiling with pieces of gear, that if the price was right, I would reinvest back into my business and upgrade to a better gimbal. Why I thought it was a good idea to buy the Ronin 2 was that it might serve as rental income. Ideally, I would get hired as an operator and I would get rental income from the unit itself. Another reason why I bought it was because people take me more seriously when I have big fancy things, and I just wanted a bigger gimbal to operate, and it wasn't that easy. Today we're going to break down what is the Ronin 2, what is an easy rig, and why these two things don't work for me. The Ronin 2 is essentially a 3-axis stabilization for your camera. These motors have higher torque, it can support heavier payloads, and it can resist high force winds and G-forces if you're throwing it on a car mount. Now, the R2 is super heavy and can carry heavy loads. For me to actually operate it, I need an easy rig. If you don't know what an easy rig is, it's basically a body harness that spreads the weight of this entire camera system to your hips and your lower body. There is a tension string that goes from your backpack that you usually wear up to this mount at the top. Essentially, you are tightening this to equal the same amount of tension or weight that the camera has. You should be able to let go of this rig and it should just float there because of the tension. This basically allows you to operate for a longer period of time, and it makes sure that your arms don't get as tired. Now we have the R2 and we know what an easy rig is. There is a very important calculation you need to make, and that is understanding the weight of your camera, the weight of the gimbal itself, and the weight capacity of the easy rig that you choose. Both your camera and your gimbal shouldn't exceed the weight capacity of the easy rig, obviously, or else this will not work. I learned this the hard way, and I actually ended up using the RS3 with the Raptor with a bunch of accessories, and I was using the minimax as well, and the minimax, basically the top of the arm was just maxing out. I was definitely exceeding the weight capacity there. It didn't really allow me to let it flow, and I was using a lot of my upper body to operate it. Minimax weight capacity. The Minimax can only hold between 4.4 pounds and 15.4 pounds. Already with the Raptor and the gimbal, without any accessories, with the lens, you're probably looking at 15 already, which means you have to upgrade the easy rig to a different model. We do a prep day at Viva, and I'm trying on all of these vests, and I have like no luck. We tried the Flycam, we tried the Minimax, we tried a Flex vest, which I don't know exactly which model of easy rig it was, but it just had the Flex vest that was from Ontario Camera. I tried the RED rig, which was given to me by the owner of the R2, the guy that sold it to me, which didn't fit me, and then the Vario 5 vest, which didn't fit me, and literally none worked. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vests that were just sitting on the floor, and I was like, wow, this is a pile of defeat. It's funny because a couple of days before the prep, Kyle was like, well, if you're gonna build a camera, we might as well shoot with it. We had this whole concept, we had a couple models. It was a spec project called My Blue Jeans. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it here. It turned out great, but we ended up just using the Easy Rig Minimax and the RED Raptor, but handheld, and we didn't actually use the Ronin, which is the whole point of that spec project. Nothing fit, and I didn't wanna, risk injuring my back holding this thing for a sustained amount of time. I was super frustrated afterwards, obviously, and I emailed Easy Rig. They said the Vario 5 standard gimbal flex vest with the stable G3 upper arm. The flex vest is a thing that has Velcro, and it basically like wraps around your chest, and it's built for women. And then the stable G3 arm is basically controlling for the Z axis, which is like the up and down. If you're walking with this gimbal handheld, you're gonna experience some up and down while you take your steps. The issue I'm currently experiencing is rental houses around me don't exactly have this specific combo. It would be nice if it was just lying around easily accessible. I could call up a rental house and just ask to try it. But this specific combo is not rented out often because of the flex vest. I live in Toronto, and I mean, the entire film industry is big but small, and even smaller when it comes to female gimbal operators. Like, I don't know a lot of them personally. I definitely know a lot of female camera operators that are handheld and they don't operate with a gimbal. I now know that I have to go out of my way and get some sort sort of a custom configuration from these rental houses, and there's absolutely no way I'm gonna go out and buy a $10,000 rig from Easy Rig just right off the bat without testing it. What I did learn is you can ask them to swap the vest with the actual rig, and it just takes a little bit more time. Another thing that I really didn't like was the fact that there is no joystick on the ring itself to operate handheld like the RS3 does. Essentially, you have three options if you want to operate this thing handheld. One is an FPV mode. As you push the gimbal, it will move with your own body movements. Number two are wheels, and this is like a whole other skill set. Wheels themselves cost another 10 grand, which don't make any sense to me because that's basically the same price as the gimbal. It would take a lot of time to learn the wheels, which I think is still important to do. And then you have a DJI joystick. The downside of this is it's not as precise and there's not exactly like a skill developed to use this joystick properly. The downside for the last two options with wheels and the joystick is that you need somebody else to operate this for you. That just means an extra person to pay for a budget, and producers obviously don't love doing that. And second, it now creates this dance between two operators and two people that have to practice this skill together and communicate really effectively to get the look that you're going for. Another thing that I see often is hoverboards, and that again controls for that Z axis, eliminating those steps that you take. But like, are you gonna see me on a hoverboard? Probably not. Maybe. Like, it's just another tool. I was really excited about my investment because it was a really big purchase for me, and I wanted to see myself get to another chapter and just really prove myself in this field. Even if I don't exactly know how to use this Ronin 2, I thought it would have been a bit easier just because I'm familiar with the DJI systems and like the Ronins that are smaller. Balancing it with the camera wasn't as hard as I thought because I have practice with that, but the issue became how ergonomically I'm actually going to hold this without hurting my back. I got advice from Morgana McKenzie, who is a really talented DP here in Toronto. She basically told me that a good DP really understands all tools and knows exactly when to use them. Yes, maybe the R2 isn't gonna work the way that I hoped. This just means that I have to learn how to use this tool on set in different ways than just handheld. You can use this on a jib, you can use this on a car mount. It basically exists as a remote head. It's not built for handheld operating. It's kind of exciting because, you know, there is this gap in the market. Like, I am the gap in the market. Hopefully there's a new tool that comes out that maybe solves this problem where it's not as heavy, maybe it's more user-friendly, and it acts in the same way that the RS3 does. Maybe there's like an RS4 that's gonna come out or something that supports heavier weight loads. I'm not afraid to be seen trying. And if you guys face similar issues like this, I guarantee that as long as you keep trying, you're going to run into roadblocks, and you just have to accept that. You'll be much better off than if you didn't end up trying. I think the only solution moving forward as of right now is using the RS3 with the tilt-a-ring and just smaller camera bodies. Hopefully I will find a perfect vest one day, and I will absolutely be sharing that with you guys on here. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you found any of this information insightful. Feel free to check out the spec project that we did actually still shoot, but it just wasn't with the R2. You can go check it out here. I can't believe we've hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm grateful and excited to like keep doing this. See you in the next one. Bye.